this will animate when we have it in the show, you know. He'll talk, and we'll have all kinds of body movements and things. They carry on a regular little story, you know.
Then he'll be audio-animatronic.
Audio-animatronic, that's right. The final result is so lifelike that you might find it hard to believe.
But how could you top it?
Well, anything's possible in Disneyland.
Dear Mr. Iger, I hope this letter finds you well. Firstly, I must commend you for the great quality of your work. The shoes that you are currently filling have been worn by history's most creative and innovative dreamers. It is a trait of character I'm sure you and your eventual successor undoubtedly possess. You do not need me to confirm to you that your tenure has brought great success and expansion to the Disney brand, the Disney films, the Disney parks, and beyond. For this, we are grateful. Your impact will define a crucial era of this iconic company, but in spite of that, I do have a concern. There is a current element in the parks that is certainly present, but to speak with hyperbole is seemingly reducing to a shadow. I address you as a humble pass holder with a request for you likewise, regarding a fundamental aspect of the parks that I feel needs some considerable attention. I know you're a very busy man, so I'll do my best to keep this brief. Mr. Iger, I'm writing to you today with a hope, a dream that is teased every time I walk into a Disney theme park. The parks are indeed the most magical and happiest places on the earth, and yet I perceive a direction that troubles me, fills me with confusion, but also with an optimistic belief, a confidence in the future that is unfolding before us. It's very easy for me to suggest all that I will, but it's because I feel that the issue at hand is a solvable one. Mr. Iger, I believe that audio-animatronics are the true hallmark of any physical Disney parks experience. When I reflect on any heightened points of joy and satisfaction I've held within the parks, it's extremely likely that these moments occurred in the presence of some type of audio-animatronic figure. There are many elements in the recipe of Disney magic, charm, theater, music, nostalgia, and many more I likely don't even realize. But perhaps just as important as all of those is the audio-animatronic, the ultimate pinnacle of Disney entertainment. What follows is something I request proudly and perhaps with a tinge of overconfidence. I speak on behalf of some of your company's most historic and imaginative pioneers. I speak on behalf of creators like Wathel Rogers, storytellers like Mark Davis, and countless others. I speak on behalf of Walt Disney, as I believe they all might agree with the sentiment of my following impassioned plea to you. Mr. Iger, sir, I am desperate for more audio-animatronic attractions in the Disney parks. Not attractions that contain a couple of pre-show audio-animatronics, but rather audio-animatronics that are the attraction. I don't need to remind you of your own company's history, but if you'll indulge me, I find myself completely fascinated by the entire topic. It's a subject that I believe is best told from the beginning, for it's by looking back that we can discover where we come from and where we can and must go. It'd be easy for me to begin this story in 1963 when the first fully audio-animatronic attraction, the Enchanted Tiki Room, debuted in Disneyland, but personally, I believe this story starts well before then. For me, it begins in Kansas City, Missouri, as a young Walt Disney, a zealous artist and burgeoning cartoonist, began to fully embrace and perfect the concept of animation. He started experimenting with the art form, fusing his drawings together, forming movement on the page and eventually the screen. It was hardly a new notion, but it was never done in the way that Disney was doing it, and that's what made it special, that's what made it the best. These elements he pioneered progressed and progressed and progressed and progressed, and soon Disney animation and its bag of cinematic magic tricks became highlights of the general entertainment experience. But Walt Disney, never one to linger too long on a specific project, set his sights even higher. He dreamed of Disneyland, a place where the wonders and the magic he brought to the screen could live and flourish in the real world. There were many tools and factors exquisitely employed in Disneyland, all of them charming and attractive to this day. While the Disneyland of 1955 hardly resembles the Disneyland of 2020, we can still find glimpses of the absorbing surprises to come in that inaugural year. Walt knew there were many places to go, and he would do whatever it took to bring Disneyland there. After Walt happened upon a mechanical bird in a vintage antique store, a particular revelation overcame him, and the beginnings of what became the audio-animatronic were born. Audiences would soon find themselves enchanted by a collection of tropical serenading birds comfortably nestled in the rafters of a special room at the entrance to Adventureland. A chorus of tweets and beats would sing the ultimate song of the Disneyland experience. The Enchanted Tiki Room by today's standards is rather novel, and yet it still finds resonance and lasting popularity over 50 years later. With the Tiki Room a hit, Walt and his team of Imagineers found the limits of what the animatronic could do and actively pushed past them in bigger and grander and more Disney ways. Reaching farther beyond just animal recreations, Walt set his sights on humanity, the joy of living, and the gravity of history. The audio-animatronic was revolutionizing entertainment in general. It was animation, it was cinema, action, theater, and performance all wrapped up in one. It was the sensational fusion of everything that Disney was already doing near flawlessly. In fact, Walt Disney summarized it best himself, and so I'll let him.
See, our whole 40-some-odd years here has been in the world of making things move, inanimate things move. From a drawing to all kinds of any little props and things. Now we're making these human figures, dimensional human figures move, make animals move, make anything move, through the use of electronics. It's just another dimension in the animation that we've been doing all our life. It's a new door, it's a new toy for us, and we're having a lot of fun, and we hope we can really do some exciting things in the future.
And the future came fast. In 1964, audiences were wowed on the Magic Skyway as towering dinosaurs roamed the Earth once more, and the former Commander-in-Chief took the stage with great lifelikeness and commanding presence in great moments with Mr. Lincoln. The ante was upped immediately as just across the way, Carousel of Progress offered not only one but a whole cast of cutting-edge audio-animatronic characters. And soon after that, Pirates of the Caribbean would float into New Orleans Square and instantly become the staple of what a Disney attraction represented. Pirates of the Caribbean is the theme park standard. So many components are weaved together tightly and warmly and charmingly. The attraction, a peaceful boat ride with the occasional thrill ride sensation, dazzled Disneyland guests with its wonderful music, its brilliant lighting and authentic staging, boasting a 360-degree, fully immersive environment filled with gags and details you'll continue to discover over half a century later. The magic happens when over 120 audio-animatronic figures begin singing and drinking and pillaging and plundering and rifling and looting and extorting and pilfering and filching and sacking and auctioning and burning and kidnapping and ravaging and not giving a hoot. In Pirates of the Caribbean, 100,000 ingredients are served to us with perfection. And yet the most important and arresting flavor of them all was the audio-animatronic. It was a tool that allowed guests and dreamers alike to enter into a world that was not their own. It was more than a robotic collection of mechanics on display. Once coupled with the elaborate magic only Imagineers could conjure, the figures were singing, they were hairy, they were alive, and they were dead. For years, these creative minds collected and fantasized and delivered on transformative experiences that would define what a theme park should be. A quality that endured with greatness as lands expanded and worlds emerged. It was no doubt that audio-animatronics meant Disney. October 1982 saw the opening of Walt Disney World's second gate and near instantly became one of the greatest eras for the medium of audio-animatronic entertainment. Memories of these remarkable, singable, and edutaining rides still last vividly in the minds of those who could experience them in person. Imagineering took the singular clay that was animatronics and began molding them into some of the most enormous and ambitious attractions to date. Grand casts of players would overshadow pirates and figures, multitudes of characters presented within staging that progressed far beyond anything that happened on the carousel. At the Epcot Center, the animatronic was not only alive and well, it was thriving. And it didn't stop there. New parks arrived, new attractions debuted. Imagineering devotedly raced to craft aliens and elephants and dragons and trolls and droids and crotchety felt-skinned critics and grasshoppers, and Gene Kellys and more, all coming to life before our very eyes. Our imaginations prospered as dreams came true, history became observable, and our favorites from the screen leapt to 3 dimensions so we could experience it all like never before. The audio-animatronic was going strong, and the wonder with which it brought was bountiful. What an awesome time. But then, something happened. They started disappearing. While animatronics remained the spectacle, the highlights of the attractions, they seemed to become fewer and farther between. Somewhere the parks drifted. Instead of rides and shows dedicated to showcasing a whole cast of audio-animatronic characters, a mindset was formed that perhaps just 1 or 2 would do. And satisfying thrills of a different kind were awarded priority. Thanks to the archives of the internet, from the guest with the forethought to capture them in their prime, we're able to loosely relive some of these former attractions by the light of our computer screens. Even through analog presentation, they still invoke an extraordinary charm. The limitations of the medium at the time are evident in this videotape treasury, and I can't help but wonder what these attractions would look like if they were produced today. Because today the art form is clearly at the top of its game, and audio-animatronics are still deserving of being the main spectacle. I mean, look at the incredible output from Disney parks around the world. Look at them. They're remarkable, don't you understand? It's why we ride. The possibilities for new and focused audio-animatronic shows and rides are endless, and yet, today is different. With the exception of a handful of classics that remain, the pure audio-animatronic offerings seem to be less than they have ever been. And that's unfortunate, not only because of Disney's stake in the audio-animatronic story, but more so because these few animatronics that have been produced within the last decade are nothing short of phenomenal. Whether it be with movement as simple as a wind-up tin toy or the complex wispy motion of 100 moving parts, audio-animatronics from the first generation to the current are immersive 3D entertainment beyond anything that can be seen on a screen, offering thrills of a very specific kind. To compare Test Track and Mission Space to the triumphs they replaced is an unreasonable challenge. Both of these e-tickets, I'll declare, are quality and thrilling attractions, don't get me wrong. I'm glad they exist. Both have provided lasting memories for me, but if we're being honest, I would trade 1,000 of them for one ride on World of Motion or Horizons. I've never experienced them in their heyday, but I'm certain if they were made with the advancing technology of today, they would surely be the most engaging, spellbinding, and fruitful attractions on the planet. And now, Test Track and Mission Space stand as bittersweet monuments to the near matchless showpieces that once were. May I particularly note that animatronic stage shows especially seem to be becoming a lost art form. A handful of my favorite Disney experiences in general are the Country Bear Jamboree, the American Adventure, and the Carousel of Progress. Euphoric stretches of time where one can just sit and watch and be wowed by the artful workmanship of the Disney Imagineer. We can revisit a few of our favorites today, but we've watched the curtain close on many, and over the last decades or so, we've welcomed none. Most recently, to be fair, we've had Lightning McQueen Racing Academy, and that's it. While I admit I enjoy the show quite a bit because the Cars animatronics are nothing short of stunning, I still find myself a bit underwhelmed and disappointed. Not only because of just the single figure or the seeming over-reliance on a nevertheless impressive screen presentation, but mostly because I know what Imagineers are capable of, and it's more than this. My mind dances with the possibility of what a modern show produced with the wherewithal that Imagineers have today could look like. I wonder how an attraction like Country Bears would be presented in 2020. It probably wouldn't be. A bizarre and creative and entertaining daydream that only a Disney Imagineer could think of. But it's like they don't show up anymore. Why? Was it us? Or was it you? Perhaps by publicizing this appeal, I may find I stand in a minority, but nevertheless, I maintain a well-focused, fully cast, Disney-produced audio-animatronic stage show made today would be astonishing and popular. The fact is, Disney makes the best of the best audio-animatronics, but it seems as if they still have to fight to earn a full showcase. These recent animatronics we've seen tease us, reduce to pre- and post-show gimmicks. These figures command attention and all of our imagination. Imagineering has rendered living and spirited creatures so seemingly lifelike and filled with breath themselves that they manage to take away our own. You've placed within Imagineering a wealth of technology that has opened the door to some of the greatest experiences in the world. Innovations like projection technology and trackless ride systems have transformed what a day at Disney looks like, and I hope Imagineering never ceases to be on the cutting edge of these mediums. My praise for recent classics like Rise of the Resistance and Flight of Passage is near infinite, and yet, selfishly, I want more. The Disney parks never were supposed to be a museum. Even the loudest protesters among us cannot and should not debate that. Nothing is immune to improvement, nothing. Walt championed the concept of a forward focus, and the company continues to live that out, but when these tangible memories of physical theater are replaced with screens and fancy lighting, they surely maintain a level of attraction and enjoyability, but still, they subtract a certain magic we're forced to remember. It seems like a downgrade, and it feels as if we're seeing the opposite of Walt's original journey playing out. I believe we can push forward in audio animatronics. I see endless possibilities. Expansions seem doable. Add exceptional accents to your signature lands. When you show off your stellar IP, do it in the best possible way with audio animatronic shows and rides. On top of what Walt created, now Disney can bring Marvel and Star Wars and the Muppets, Pixar, Avatar, and more to expand the park's audio animatronic offerings with. But above all, you have the competent creativity of Walt Disney Imagineers who can craft amazing, challenging, charming stories from their own original visions. Where is our generation's Country Bear Jamboree? Who will be our Pirates of the Caribbean? What can spark today's journey into imagination? Lastly, if I still have your attention, I don't have numbers to show you this is a financially lucrative investment. I worry if I did that would be enough to dissuade you altogether. No, all I have are memories, positive and powerful emotions that were fully realized within the boundaries of a Disney park. And to me, this is what spells out the true essence of Disney magic. On the surface, it may just be cables, hydraulics, and actuators amidst a slew of automated thingamajigs, but from a reflective distance, our recollections and experience prove they're much more than that. It baffles me how something so mechanical can elicit something so personal. Somehow, the movements of an audio animatronic have the ability to move us. Whether they boast about tomorrow, or the camaraderie of man, or the seeds of our existence, or the complexity of nature, or the wonder of worlds unseen, even a big bear in a vest with a guitar crooning Blood on the Saddle, there is nothing in the world quite like an audio animatronic. We're about to enter into a new era for Disney parks. We celebrate with you the heritage and history of what the last several decades in Disneyland and Walt Disney World and more have formed. And we look forward in anticipation to the wonders that are surely in the works. I hope that this letter is poorly timed and completely redundant by the time you have the chance to peruse its content. From the glimpses we've seen, the upcoming Spider-Man Stuntronics still show that Disney leads the way in this perfect form of entertainment. Additions like Runaway Railway appear positive, and refurbishments to Spaceship Earth appear well directed. We're on the right path. I'm mostly contented. In summary, sir, audio animatronics are one of many reasons why I love Disney. I think it's why a lot of us love Disney. The beauty of the parks that Walt created is their ability to mean something different and affecting for each person who steps inside. For someone, Disneyland might not mean Disneyland without the thrill one experiences on Space Mountain. For another, Animal Kingdom might not mean Animal Kingdom without the awe of seeing nature up close on safari. For someone else, Magic Kingdom might not mean much magical if we couldn't get a hug from the mouse himself. For more, it might mean the boom of fireworks or the waves of parades. It might mean the interactivity of punching the Falcon to light speed. It might mean churros. In one way or another, it all means celebration, wonder, discovery, and magic. And Disney Parks wouldn't mean Disney Parks without the magic of audio-animatronics. Foster that feeling, Mr. Iger. Continue to shape your legacy by adding more of this celebrated brand of Disney animation to the future. As Walt Disney saw a blank page and first put down the strokes that formed Mickey Mouse, he created him and everything after in pursuit of one thing: following a dream by bringing joy to the masses. The same can go for audio-animatronics. This is my dream. This is our dream, Mr. Iger. This is all so simple for me to request, but I've gone directly to the top because you, sir, have the challenge and the power to act. You have the say-so. This is all in your hands, and so, with great respect, and the utmost of gratitude, and the best of luck, please, say you'll think about it. Cordially, the Happy Place Explorers.